everyone, and welcome back to the Creative Amplifiers show. Lovely to be with you. And Marcus, this is just for you. We felt like
it should horribly wrong already.
Marcus was asking for it, literally asking for it. So there we are. Great to see everybody here. Hi, Val. Thank you for being here. Hi, Saeed. Amazing. Thank you so much. Lisa, Neil, lovely to be back with you yet again. We've got a great show. We've got an interesting show with Robyn coming up. We shall introduce her very, very shortly. So what do we want to tell everybody? What's been happening in the last 2 weeks? Anything super exciting that's happened to you, Neil?
Well, I've learned that my colleague, friend, co-host is on his way back to Portugal. That's right. Mark is going to be with me, hand in hand, drinking a couple of glasses of champagne, dancing, skipping through the... No. Anyway, so you're coming over in a couple of weeks' time again into Portugal, and it's almost like a year to the day when you were last over doing a show where we had Katie on, and we were here in the studio together, and Lisa was running the show from all the way over in the US. So yeah, it's going to be a pleasure to have you coming over again. So that's my exciting news, I think, so far. And we've got other things to share later, but yeah, that's my exciting news for this week.
Good. And Lisa, how's it been with you in the last couple of weeks?
I don't think I can top that. I don't know.
It was the hand-in-hand bit that got me worried.
It was the skipping. I need video.
There's visions now in your mind.
I know, they're dancing in my head. Life is good. The weather has warmed up, and I'm just over here making content and making plans, which we'll talk about later. But anyway, the three of us.
So is LA again now? Can I sort of sit back?
LA hasn't been LA since 19. I don't know when. No, as far as the fire and all that, no, it's still, people are in the process of trying to rebuild, and that's going to be a very long process. But one day.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, Val, you can top it.
Oh.
I have no idea what that means.
I don't know. Do I need to turn this off?
I was gonna text you because I drove by and I was like, we need to meet up and have a little poke. So Val turned me on to this poke place that I can literally walk to from my house, and so that's our spot. Go Val.
Okay. Neil,
it's about food.
Perplexed.
Know me.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure what poke is, but that's okay,
food.
Maybe food. Okay.
Generally.
Thanks. I'm learning stuff all day today. It really has been a learning experience.
It's a learning day.
There we are. So, well, we need to be in LA then. We need to find out what this is all about, and make the most of these local restaurants that you can walk to, which is even more exciting for someone in LA. Hi, George. Thank you so much for being here. So, shall we bring Robyn on? I know she's itching to share some of her amazing insights, content, and her journey, which I have to say, even having spoken to her at Creator-Cam, I had no idea exactly where it started. So Neil's going to lead this.
Lead this. I'm going to leave it. Yeah, I'm going to leave it. Right.
No, it was Lisa and I who were going to leave and let you carry on and do the interview. But anyway, if you're ready, Robyn, 1, 2, 3. Lovely to welcome to this show.
Thank you. It's great to be here, and I'm glad, Neil, you're not leaving.
I'm not leaving. Not yet. No. Well,
good.
It's a pleasure to have you, Robyn. How you doing?
Thank you. It's so great to see you guys. It's been a little while since Creator Camp.
It has. And thanks for coming back on the show. I know that you were very ill a few weeks ago, and that's why you couldn't make it, but you're here. And it's great to have you.
Yes, I apologize, and it's great to be here, so thank you.
Not a problem. Now, you and I met first in Portugal almost a year and a bit ago now, when you came over on your travels, which you do quite a lot of, and you met up with myself and Martin, which was a pleasure to meet you. And now you met all of us here at Creator Camp back in October. And just real quick, well, how was that experience for you? Because that was the first Creator Camp for you, right? And on the winning team.
It was definitely my first creator camp. And yes, I got my little cup here. Ecamm. I love this. The correct answer is it was fabulous.
Fabulous, great. And you had a nice
Yeah.
time. And you were the winners, right? You were on Adrian's team and you took the prizes,
We
which you have
were.
right in front of you, one of them. There
My
you go.
microphone right here, that was one of our prizes. Yes. So that was awesome to be on the winning team. The red team, as a matter of fact, I dressed in color.
There you go. Well, there you go. You're all in tonight. So you have an amazing story, or many stories to tell, and of your journey, both creative journey and your travel experiences. But you've also wrote a book, and I wanted to take you way back. So before becoming an author, you turned, I mean, this is an interesting story. You turned a bankrupt ice rink arena into a money-making facility. So tell us, how on earth did that happen? And can you share your story with us?
Yes. Okay. Well, it's definitely a unique one. So, fun fact, I grew up as a competitive figure skater in Philadelphia. So I spent a lot of time on the ice, and it taught me dedication, discipline, and yes, a lot of skills that way as an athlete. And I once heard the advice, you may have heard this too, follow your passion and the profits will follow. So I took that advice literally. And one day my parents came to visit me in Florida where I was living, and we decided to go ice skating. And I did a little research a long time ago, and it turns out there were only 2 ice arenas. And the first one we went to, it was choppy ice, so we left because we're ice snobs. And the second one, when we drove up, there was this big billboard, and it looked like it was in handwriting, blood red. And it read, I said out loud in the car, for sale, for lease. And I said, let's go buy an ice skating rink. Well, I ended up going in there. We did go skating, and but we talked to the landlord who had the building at the time, and I learned more about what was going on with the failed business. And a few months later, I did a lot of research, wrote, believe it or not, a 40-page business plan. Oh my gosh, that was insane. But with my then partner, we bought the rink. So then we worked on, there was no roadmap. So when you're an entrepreneur, as many of you know, there was no roadmap. You just kind of get in there and you figure it out. Now, I do have a marketing degree, so that definitely helps. But the 2 keys really to success were storytelling. I was able to figure out how to leverage the media and get our stories in there. And the second was strategic partnerships. So shortly after we bought the arena, the NHL Florida Panther hockey team came to town. And so I approached the general manager, who was Bobby Clark at the time, former Philadelphia Flyer manager, and invited him to look at our arena and see if they wanted to be if we could be their practice facility. So back and forth, a few months, negotiated a 5-year contract to be their official practice facility. So that kind of started up my journey. And if you want to know the rest of the story, I was interviewed on a podcast, which, by the way, again, it's a great podcast for entrepreneurs, and it's called How Did It Happen? And so you can get the inside story and learn more if you're interested. So that's the short version.
Wow. I mean, how did you, so you managed to get media interest and things like that. So how, from your experience, how did you sort of manage to get sort of media involvement in that? What did you do to sort of get them interested in this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have been a curious person since probably I was born, but at least the age of 3. So I would get into trouble talking to strangers all the time and asking them, what's your story? I like to know what people's backgrounds are and their culture. And so, and people always tell me a lot of very interesting stories. And so my customers were fascinating to me. And I just kept hearing the most interesting things. And I figured, I need to share this with a bigger audience. And who would be the ideal person to reach out to as a start was a sports editor for the Sun Sentinel newspaper. And so I started pitching stories, and we had a relationship, built a relationship, started a relationship. And then from there, it was TV. And eventually I got an article in Sports Illustrated. So I loved it. It was nerve-wracking because I had no idea what I was doing. But I figured, let me give it a shot. And so I wrote a press release. That's kind of how it starts. And again, I've been using storytelling and working with media ever since, because it's just such a powerful strategy and so effective if you're looking to attract a much bigger audience. And so when we would get stories featured in the newspaper or TV, it helped bring us and grow the business. And we really needed that, because at one time our Zamboni broke, which was, it's the machine that makes the ice smooth. And if you don't have smooth ice, then you can't really skate. And that was a huge unexpected expense, even though we had a backup one. And that's where I looked at the budget and said, what can I cut? And I actually cut some of the advertising, and thought there's got to be a better way. So that's how I got into storytelling and leveraging the media. And it's very rewarding when you see that. And I also went on to become a marketing strategist for clients, helping them grow their brands and get them featured.
Great. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about that in a second. So we just had a quick comment in the chat that you're a little bit quiet compared to the rest of us. So I'm not sure if Lisa and I can turn ourselves down a little bit, and you can get a little bit closer to your microphone, Robyn, and then Mark can maybe boost and turn up the guest Zoom on that side, and maybe Robyn will come through a little bit louder, and we'll be a bit quieter, but we'll see how that works.
Usually I'm pretty loud. Is that better?
That's all right. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Yeah, if you can just get the microphone a bit closer to you, that would work.
Oh gosh, this reminds me of a story. I will tell you about that in a minute.
Okay.
With microphone.
All right. No problem. You can tell us that story right now if you want, and then I'll ask you a question about giving some examples to digital marketing strategies. But tell me your story first.
So then, the ice arena business was successful. It was a lot of hard work. As I said, it was eventually sold to the Florida Panther hockey team. And then I moved to California and decided, because I was too young to be done, what next? And that's when I got into the internet. I thought it was going to be something big, and nobody, of course, knew what was going to happen. But San Francisco was where the tech was and where the action was. And so I launched a marketing consulting company, and I really managed to work with some outstanding clients. And in the process of marketing, I figured, I heard a radio show, and it was a woman who was a host, and she was interviewing people in tech and market. I don't know if marketing was her specialty at the time, but definitely tech. So I thought I should get on her show, even though I'd never been on the radio or in a studio before. And I want to talk about my clients and some marketing strategies and this new little digital business card that I learned how to make.
CD.
So this is a mini CD.
Right.
Have you ever seen one of these?
Yeah, I used to buy a couple of singles back in the day on those. They used to sell the CD singles, but the smaller versions, yeah. So I've still got a couple of Madonna singles in there, but no judgment.
Yeah, I know. So, okay. All right. This is dinosaur days now. This is a long time ago. But on here, you could put everything from video to PDF to pretty much everything. In fact, it says, was my business card, lost in cyberspace, get found. And I had a free report. Google ranking secrets. So there's a tip. Have a lead magnet. So I got on her show, nervous as could be. And in the studio, they kept telling me, get closer to the mic. That's why I said that, Neil. So I was like, how close do you want me to go?
Ah, right.
And that worked out well. And I was talking about a client on the radio show, and she happened to have been listening. I didn't even know that she was. And so it was a good shout out to her too, because she picked up some clients from it. She was a technical recruiter in San Francisco.
Interesting. And you had the first digital business card then, or one of the first digital ones. I've never seen them used as business cards. So that is a really interesting use case for those mini CDs.
Thank you. Yes. So there's a little bit of a geek in me somewhere. I don't know where that comes from, but I love using tech and video and different things with the marketing strategies.
Cool. You mentioned that you've worked with a lot of, obviously, entrepreneurs and companies over the years. So could you provide some examples of some digital marketing strategies that have helped boost your clients' business? Have you got some tips for us that you could potentially share?
Sure. There's so many. Well, one of my...
Take your time.
Yeah.
We've got all night.
That's funny. Let's see. One of my clients, I was in the financial marketing arena for about 14 years. And one of my clients was an trust company, and they were looking to get the word out about their company and grow. They had been very successful, but little known to the media. And so for digital marketing strategies, I started to use PR, but writing press releases and using SEO. And so by that, I would leverage keywords and really get into the combining the digital part of PR and SEO. And so not only was I getting featured in the media for the clients, but also it was helping build website traffic. And then I also had a webinar series. So all of these were, I would weave together and help them generate leads and make more money. So that would be one example.
Cool. And have you, and can you just explain maybe how you've embraced sort of the online video production world in your experience? Because obviously you spoke, or we spoke before the show around the LinkedIn video that you created on on tips on how to sort of work with LinkedIn. But obviously you're on YouTube, you've got your travel show that you do and all the experiences that you provide to people, which we'll talk about in a second. So maybe you could share some tips on sort of how you've embraced video production, content creation, and so on, and maybe talk us through a little bit about how that journey is for you.
Okay, so video, I don't know if you all remember this one, but there was a flip camera, and it was the coolest little camera. Do you remember that, Neil? You're shaking your head. Possibly yes.
Yeah.
It was the coolest little camera, and it just had a USB plug that you could plug right in into your computer and upload your video. So one of the strategies, strategies that I used was producing conferences for clients. And at the conferences, I would gather video testimonials on the fly and also interviews. So if we had keynote speakers, I'd want to kind of get the inside scoop and maybe give a sneak preview. And so I would use video to help market that and expand or extend the experience on YouTube. So I started YouTube channels, not only for myself, but also for clients. And the fact that you could just plug it in and upload it to YouTube was instant, and it was very effective. So then I've just always gravitated toward video in marketing. And nowadays in my travels, I pretty much take it down to an iPhone, as light as I can be when I'm traveling, but still using quality microphones and lighting. And so I've been using video for a long time. And obviously now everyone is using video, which is fabulous. And now the challenge is how to stand out and how to get your message heard. So,
and do you think, just on that point about standing out, do you think with your experience in storytelling and the way that you can convey the messages either through your travel experiences and so on, that's pretty much one of the key differentiators? If you can tell story well, then that's going to come across and resonate with your audience. So do you have any tips that you can share to our audience on how to really get better either with storytelling or some things that you've learned along the way that's made you a better storyteller?
Yes, definitely. In fact, that leads me right into, I do have a mini course it's a 1 hour 4 video mini course on how to tell your story and storytelling strategies. And some of these are right out of my playbook that have worked over the years. But basically, I mean, I'll give you three stories that everybody should have if they're marketing their brand. And one is your brand story. Why did you start your company? Who do you help? And why? And so that's your core. As far as another story, I would say the most powerful word of mouth marketing is one of the most powerful tools available. And by getting client testimonials, you're getting the experience of your clients in their words. So when you hear a testimonial or you hear a raving client, grab your phone, get a video, ask them if it's okay to share that with them, and take advantage of that, and then share it. Share it in your emails, share it on your video channels. So that's another one, is definitely testimonials. And then I would say, as far as if you have a new product, new service, of course, that's obvious, but think about your audience and how it's benefiting them more than what your features are of it. So there's a lot that goes into it. I go, as I said, in mini course, if you really want to learn how to tell your story and how to leverage the media with that, I go into a lot of examples. Yeah.
So tell me about how you got into the whole travel and the travel experience, because I was reading on your website and your bio that you started traveling at an early age, and then you've turned that into luxury travel experiences for people of a certain age and so on, and you're crafting all these experiences for people. So where did it all start? Where did the travel bug begin? Because obviously you started with the ice rink and being an entrepreneur and thinking about marketing and so on, but then you've obviously been traveling for some time as well. So how did that all start?
Okay, so yes, second fun fact is, so I was born with a severe case of wanderlust. I became a global traveler at age 18. I spent my junior year of college. I was accepted to do the international business program and was very fortunate to spend my junior year of college abroad in the Netherlands. And that changed my view on travel, and kind of got the bug early. So I organized my first little group trip when my family came to visit me, and I organized a 3-week trip. We went to 11 countries, the American way of traveling, which I don't recommend. But we went to 11 countries, and I bought a Eurail pass, and it just came naturally to me. So then I continued on traveling, and I guess there's a little common thread here that when I have a passion for something, then I want to help others. And in this case, I started working with travel brands and also sharing the experience of some of my favorite places, like Portugal, which I've been to many times and I absolutely love it. But I would put together groups and share the experience to others who just would say, "Where are you going next, Robyn? I want to go."
Great. I think, Lisa, you have a question.
Yeah, excuse me, actually, too. What advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about jumping into the travel content creator space? Because it's changed and it's constantly changing, and travel has changed. So, what advice would you give them to get started?
Yes, it's definitely changed. It's changed and it continues to change, definitely. So there, years ago, it was the influencers were the big celebrities, and that's who the brands were looking to endorse and spend a lot of money, right or wrong, but they would spend a lot of money trying to get the word out. And I would say that now, even if you have a small audience and you're just growing and you want to work with travel brands, just tag the ones that you like for the right reasons and start to follow them, and create content that you really love. That's what I would suggest, that you really have a passion for. And I would say also one of the tips I have here is strategy trumps frequency. So in other words, when you're putting out content, I think it's really important. What's the reason that you're putting out the content? Is it because you want to attract a bigger audience? Maybe you want to get leads, so you have a lead magnet and you have some information you want to share, or some tips, or you're an entertainer and that's your way of. So it's I would say it's really figuring out what's your style, what feels right for you, and you can always learn a lot, but it has to be your voice and your style.
And just to ask another question, how important is it to niche or niche, however you say it, down now? Because there's different schools of thought that, show your multi-passionate self and all the things you're interested in within, the travel world for this, or should you really focus in on one population?
Oh, yes. So I started Lux Club Travel a couple of years ago. And for me, the population at that time was travelers over 50, affluent travelers over 50 who had already been around, traveled a lot, but they were looking more for unique experiences and luxury hotels and just unusual, off the beaten trail, off the beaten path, not in the guidebook. So I think it's important that you can niche it down to a demographic for sure. But again, there's just so many areas to play. It could be river cruising. It could be family travel, adventure travel, solo travel, which I ended up doing kind of unexpectedly. I remember when I was taking a trip after, I was going to ask you a question. How do you celebrate milestones? So when you achieve a goal, how do you celebrate milestones? Some people go shopping. Some people take trips.
I travel, and I'm a
What do
solo
you do,
traveler. So
Lisa?
yes, I'm totally a solo traveler. And milestones, birthdays, I'm taking a trip somewhere. Every
I love
birthday,
it.
I go.
What? And then Neil, I bet buys tech. No, I don't know. What does Neil and Mark do?
No, I mean sometimes I'll go on a trip and things like that, depending on the milestone. If you want to be reminded of those milestones, but yes, depending on the milestone and so on, I'll take a trip, or I'll just have time with family here in Portugal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Go on,
Mark?
Mark.
I'd sort of the bigger milestones. Then yeah, I'm all for traveling and taking a trip. Definitely. Some of the smaller ones, like there's a podcasting milestone. I think I would have covered this week, and each one of those normally just buy a nice bottle of something and just sort of share it with the people around you, who are sort of supporting what's going on. So I think that sort of sharing it with the people that are part of what you're doing, even if they're not directly involved in your particular project, as it were, but making it part of that sort of family effect, and then just sort of growing out from there, depending on how far you want to travel if it's a bigger project.
Yes, I love that. And I frequently go to conferences too. And then why not tack on a few extra days and extend your trip pre and post? You're already spending the time and money traveling. So I think that's a great way to extend the experience.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we actually have some questions from the audience regarding some of your travel. So one that's just come in from Martin. If you remember, Robyn, when we met you in Portugal, you were just about to embark on a trip around the Med. So maybe you could share a little bit about that, and how did that go?
Gosh, let me think. That was March?
No,
September?
it was
Oh,
later in
September.
the year, I think, something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yes. So that trip went fantastic. I have clients on there. I think they might even be watching if Tamara's out there. And we started off in Venice, and we took a cruise on Explorer Journeys, which I absolutely love. And on my video podcast, which I forgot to mention that I have, Explore with Robyn, there's a couple of interviews I did with Explorer Journeys. It's a brand new luxury cruise line that came out just last year, and now they have 3 ships, and they're racking up all the awards for good reason. And we went from Venice to Athens and stopped in Italy, and a couple of stops in Italy. And it was a fantastic trip. It was amazing. Yes.
Did you go to Greece on that trip as well, or is that just the Italy, or was Greece later?
We ended up in Athens, yes. And
Oh,
then
yeah,
it was my
Athens,
first time in Greece. So instead of going to Santorini, which I know was very popular and I'd love to go there, but I prefer finding the lesser known destination. So here's a travel tip for you that are going to Greece if you haven't been. One of my new favorite places is Paros, not Paris, France, but Paros, Greece. So it's a gorgeous island. It's about less than an hour flight from Athens, and it looks like Mykonos, and it's just gorgeous. So I can't say enough, and I can't wait to go back, and I might be going back maybe the end of May.
Excellent.
Nice.
I've actually been to Paros, which was really nice. It was one of my first trips to Greece as a youngster. I think I was in my early 20s, a long time ago. It's
Then
probably
you're
changed
way
a lot by
ahead.
then, but Paros is really nice. Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, it was a very nice island, and I like the fact that it was very small. And you're right, it was a little boat from Athens. You had to get there, but it was great. Yeah, I've been to Greece a lot, to different islands, but yeah, at the moment Greece has just had a few problems. Santorini's on a high alert because of all the earthquakes they've had, and things. So they're advising people not to go right now. So maybe avoid Santorini for now. And Val had a question as well, I think, which is, tell us the story about the trip where you went alone and that person they sat next to. Do you remember this?
Okay. Yes, first solo global trip. Thank you,
Okay.
Valerie, for reminding me. That person. That person. So this was at the end of a conference I produced, and I was exhausted. You know how hard it can be when you work hard and you're just ready to to celebrate a milestone. That's when I wanted to go on a vacation, and nobody could my friends either were not available or they didn't want to go on a cruise, or for whatever reason, I couldn't find a buddy to travel with. And I just figured I'm just going to have to do this by myself. And I took my first solo cruise. I think it went from San Francisco to Mexico. And at that time, there were big cruise ships and they had large ballrooms. And I was almost not even going to go to dinner that night. That's how nervous I was about being on my own. And I just forced myself to leave the cabin, show up. And as I walked to dinner and through the ballroom and the captain and everybody in line that you had to say hello to and smile and talk to them, which was fun. So I finally get to my table, and this man, everybody was seated, and a man pulls out my chair and he said, "Well, hello, darling. We've been waiting for you." I thought, "Oh, well, who are you?" I didn't say that. I said, "Well, thank you so much. It's great to be here." And he said, "Introduce yourself." And I did, Robyn Levin. And he said, "Yes. And I'm Mr. Levin," and which he was, but he was not a relative. And that's how we proceeded. He pretended for a minute that he was my uncle. But he just made it so comfortable. And he was so flamboyant. And it turns out that he owned a restaurant in San Francisco, a steak restaurant in San Francisco. And so we just bonded and had a lovely time. And I overcame my fear of solo traveling. Lesson learned: if you're solo, do not go over Easter break when all the families and kids are there, which I did.
As a top tip.
Exactly.
I agree.
I'm really curious, as someone who spends a lot of time recording here, sort of with all the kind of the confines, but also the knowledge of what things are going to sound like and lighting and all that kind of thing. When you're recording, when you're on the move, you sort of mentioned about keeping it simple, but what sort of gear and tech do you specifically use? And also what sort of do's and don'ts do you sort of come up against that you kind of have, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 things like, you know, not windows, it's too windy, not outside, always inside. I don't know, what some of the things that you sort of make sure that you want to have control over, despite the fact you're not in a sort of a regular studio.
So many good questions there. And I want to give a huge shout out to Valerie Pinkston. I know you're watching. She has been so extraordinary on this journey, learning Ecamm, and really, she's been amazing. And she's a fabulous coach. So I thank you, Valerie. Can't thank you enough. So she has been helpful as far as when I travel, and I would tell her where I'm going and what I'm up to. She has even coached me when I was in Montenegro recently. Just if sometimes you need another person to check out your set, and just maybe another set of eyes. So in fact, I can show you this interview I just did recently in Montenegro. I was staying at a luxury hotel, beautiful boutique property hotel. And the woman that I was going to interview, who's in marketing and PR for the hotel, I know she was a little bit nervous, but I told her it's just going to be a little chat. And so I used my phone, and what I bring when I travel, I've learned over the years, is a couple of tripods, and lightweight tripods, and some lighting. One light really, but usually I like to use natural light and wireless microphones, and I'll bring more than one just in case. So, but most of my gear could fit in a cosmetic bag. It's just, I keep it light. And I can show you if you want to see an example of the interview I did with Leonardo in Montenegro. And it was just I found a quiet spot in the lobby where the lighting was really good. I set my phone down on the tripod on a glass table and put microphones on both of us and had a casual chat. And I think it came out really well. So let me give that a quick play here. I am here with Leonardo from the beautiful Chedi Resort in Montenegro. And we're going to get an inside peek into what makes this so special. And it absolutely is. Welcome. Let's hear more.
Well, welcome you to Montenegro. It's a very pleasure to have you here with us. What can I say? Montenegro is a very small country. In only one day, actually 3.5 hours, you can pass from the coastline to the mountain and see the whole country. This is the beauty as well, our position, because we are surrounded with Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia, when you're based in Montenegro, you can see a lot and really take your holiday to experience more. Currently, we are in a winter season time in Montenegro, but you can still, it's still beautiful. We have these very long Christmas holidays because we celebrate from Christmas to Christmas, so you can really feel the Christmas spirit. While our main season is summer, which is July and August, and all the months around. Actually, swimming season starts from May until the end of October, so you can really come in almost any time of the year.
Yes, you can. So
Very
that
cool.
gives you, if you want to watch the rest, it's on my my YouTube channel, Explore with Robyn. She was delightful, and that was one take, so I was thrilled with it. It doesn't always work out perfectly, Mark, to answer your question, so it's a lot of trial and error. And like when I was in Greece, unfortunately, I was using my wireless mic, but the wind was so strong that it wasn't, the audio just wasn't great. So it's kind of hard to be outside in the wind with a little wireless mic or a little lavalier, but you do the best you can. Let's try to find a non-windy spot, but sometimes that's not possible. But the scenery made up for it.
Yeah, it brings up a really interesting question that I often come across, is the fact, what do you do when it doesn't quite go right? Do you try and make the best of the situation and work out how to do it in post? Do you kind of go, this was brilliant, but can we just recreate it because I want to get the best possible thing? How do you sort of go about doing that? Because I know it can be really awkward when you're trying to get the best content, but you want to make your guest or the people around you feel as comfortable as possible.
So that brings me back to an interview I was doing with a woman here in Sarasota. She has a fascinating story. And so I decided to do this interview at a beautiful restaurant. Oops, wait. Oh, there we go. At a beautiful restaurant on the water. And she just lived across the street. So I set up my gear, the mics. I had everything set up on the table. And all of a sudden, a storm came in. And it was raining so hard. And she called and said, I don't know if we're going to be able to make it. So I packed up everything and I said, that's okay. I totally understand. We'll do it another time. Well, about 20 minutes later, she texted me and said, wait, the sun is coming out. I think I can make it. So now I had already closed everything up. So I went into a different room because the rain was so loud on the windows. And there was something else. I think the overhead music was pretty loud. So I figured, let me move to another room. So I moved to a different room, set it all up. She showed up. You know how it is when you're one person, when you're doing this with just by yourself, you have to set everything up and then go behind and look at your camera, make sure everything's lined up perfectly, which I did. And then when she sat down, I didn't realize that she moved her chair slightly. So we have this great content. And when I looked at it afterwards, I realized we're off center. And there's more of a pole in the way, and there's so much of my profile. It's just kind of awkward, and it was just so disappointing. She was about to leave for a big trip, and I didn't think I'd have time to redo it, which would have probably been the best thing to do. So yes, this was painful, but it ended up in editing for quite a while, and we did a lot of B-roll to fill in for that, and yes, so B-roll can be your friend. And mostly, of course, focusing on her anyways, which was good. But yeah, so it was that was a tough one. When somebody moves and you don't realize it.
As I say, it could also be an audio podcast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Lisa, that is so perfect. Thank you for yes, that's excellent idea. So yes.
Video fails and use audio.
Yeah,
I was just going to ask you, so that little clip that we did see just back then, was that shot entirely on your iPhone, or did you have another camera with you, and did you use any external lighting, or is that just what you dealt with while you were there and you just basically shot what on the scene?
That's it. I found I scoped out the hotel trying to find the best lighting and in a comfortable environment where we look casual on the couch, and it was just my iPhone, no second camera, and 2 mics, tripod, and no lighting. That was it.
And it's amazing, you know, when people say, well, I need this gear, and so on. It just proves that with careful composition, how you frame the shot, getting the right microphones and just making sure that you do a little bit of testing and keep checking, because you're also backlit as well, which is never the ideal situation, but that worked really well in that particular video. So it just goes to show that if you travel light, just and lock down the shot. And what I mean by that is, you know, have that tripod instead of, because handheld is okay, but it can be a bit jarring, and especially if you're solo creating and you've just got yourself, then obviously you need to have that tripod locked down. So and so on.
Yes,
And I remember when you were in Portugal, you never left anywhere without your selfie stick that we got working. So that was interesting.
That's right. Yes, yes, you were so helpful.
But
Yeah,
it's interesting how
it was the Bluetooth, right?
it was just a Bluetooth thing that wasn't working properly. Yeah, but it's interesting that, as Mark said, just to travel light, to make sure that you have just enough gear with you to go and do what you need to do. And I was going to ask you a question about, to Lisa's point, about the change in the way that travel videos and vlogs and old school vlogging and things have changed over the years. There's been this movement over the last 18 months where people are consuming these travel videos more on their TV, as well as just, you know, TV is taking over from a YouTube perspective than just watching it on the mobile. So people are a little bit more conscious about making the videos look a lot more cinematic, a lot more engaging, and switching from the short form, very bursty, in your face, quick cuts to more a long form storytelling, chilled out, being a little bit more immersive. What's your sort of take on that? Do you do a mixture of both with your videos, or are you tending now, with your storytelling background, starting to move towards the more longer form, more immersive, more sort of chilled out content?
I mix it up a bit. Things are always changing, as you all know. With video, first it's long, then it's short, now it's back to long. Today I just heard that the YouTube numbers are saying that TV is surpassing mobile for the first time in history, in the United States, that is. So now long form seems to be the way to go. For mine, I try to go between 5 to 15 minutes if I'm doing a story or an interview. And then I'll take shorts from that, right? So I'll mix it up and maybe do a teaser or just do a tip. So I'm using a combination of short and long. But definitely, like with our iPhones, you can shoot in 4K. And so adding some B-roll in, and there's so many ways to be creative and get away from the influencer shots that are all about pretty dresses and flying in the wind and look at me. That's kind of, I think, passe. Finally,
Right.
hopefully. Yes.
Hopefully. And because you do a lot of travel experiences and all the planning for your trips and the videos that you create, do you have any tips and tricks on how you go around planning all this? Do you use any tools? Do you have like notebooks with you? I mean, how do you go about planning like a larger trip, for example, the Mediterranean trip with multiple countries involved, and things that you might want to be planning along the way in terms of incorporating that into video and creating that content? Can you walk us through a little bit about your process? Because we hear all about process and workflow and tooling and making sure that we have a decent run of show. So can you give us some tips on what you do and how you go about that? Or do you just wing it?
Mine's so much simpler.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. I once read about Malta. I think it was like 10 years ago. I read about Malta. And the article was fascinating. And so when people tell me of a place and they are so excited about it, I use my notes, right? In my iPhone, I take notes and I keep a running list of places that I think would be really interesting to travel to. So that's number one, is I listen very closely to, and I take the tips and I research. So I love researching travel. And I'll research not only the most, some of the most famous places to see, sites and places to see, but I like to wander off and explore. That's probably why it's explore more. But I like to go off the beaten path, and I like to explore and just kind of see where the locals are going and feel the atmosphere and really get into the local experiences. And so Because I have my phone with me, my tripod, my lighting, you never know who you're going to meet. So sometimes, Neil, it's just an off the cuff interview where I might say to a chef, "Oh my gosh, what are you making? Can I interview you?" and,
Right.
and just ask for a tour. And so be spontaneous, I would say. Leave room for spontaneity and feel it.
Yeah. I know, and I think that lends itself to some of the better videos as well, right? If it's more spontaneous, it's more real, and it's just in the moment, and you've captured that, and that's it. If it's staged, it can feel a little bit forced and a bit contrived. So I think that's great that you do more of the spontaneity. Before I ask you some of the final questions, I think you wanted to share something with the audience today around some top tips. You mentioned that you had a list of something that you wanted to share.
Yeah, just a short list here. Number one, don't get hung up on the gear. I know that's they call you may hear the term gas. I have gas. No, it's not that kind of gas, but the gear syndrome. Oh my gosh, now you guys know what it is.
Gear acquisition syndrome.
Gear acquisition syndrome. There you go. For those of you, I'm not talking personal here, but yes, gear acquisition syndrome. So I would say stick to find what works for you. Definitely experiment, and you all do such a fabulous job reviewing gear. So definitely look at the reviews and see what you need. But just because the latest camera came out doesn't mean that you absolutely need it. I know Valerie's saying yes, that's true. So read up on the gear, but don't let that stop you from taking a video. Don't let that stop you. Don't let, okay, this is a personal one. I have frizzy hair, and so a lot of times I might not want to take a video if I'm in it because of my hair. So don't let that stop you. Don't miss the opportunity. Just do it. That's what I would say for a tip. Number two, again, rather than frequency and just post without thinking, think first. Think, why am I posting? Why am I creating this video? Why am I creating this content? What do I want my audience to see, feel, hear, think? Do I want to inspire them? Do I want to give them a tip? Do I want to entertain them? So why? Think about why before you just post. And the third would be, this ties into the why. It's and my sports mind is, what's your end goal? Think of what you want in the end. And if you're looking to expand your reach, then why not have a free offer, a lead magnet that it's called, and be sure to include a call to action, because people like to know what to do next. Oh my God, my phone just went off. So those would be my tips.
Great. Yeah, and create content with conviction and have a purpose, and not just post stuff out all the time. I know it's good to get started, but I think you have to be intentional as you get better with the content creation and provide some value back to your audience, and not just post anything for the sake of it. So my last question to you was, and we asked this to everybody, is I know that Valerie has helped you along the way with some of the video production and things like that, but how did you start and how did you find Ecamm? Where did your Ecamm journey start?
Oh my God, this is such a good question. Ecamm saved one of my clients' events, let's just say, back in, I think it was 2020. I had a nonprofit client I was working with, and they every year would have a lifelong learning conference, a physical event here in Sarasota. Well, when all of a sudden nobody could go out and they thought, oh, we're going to have to cancel the conference, I thought, no, you already have the agenda. You have everything in place. There must be another way. I'm going to figure out how to do this virtually. I have no idea, but let's give it a few more weeks before you can't do a hard cancel. And with that, I might have found Adrian first, but I definitely discovered Ecamm and started taking lessons and learning how to use Ecamm as a production alternative and produce the virtual event. So with that, I learned a lot. Within 6 weeks, I also hired a remote producer that I found in the Ecamm community. And I had no idea what I was doing, but sometimes my biggest bold moves turn out to be the best results, but it's not without a lot of work and stress and along the way, but and also finding good people to help you. I think that's so important. And so we produced the event, and I'm so excited to tell you that we had 200 live attendees. And I hosted it for 3 hours straight. I never even got up. But some of the things that I'll share with you that I think made it a success. I was thinking again about the audience. How can I keep people engaged? What can I do to bring it in and mix it up? So in addition to having a keynote speaker and a panel discussion, I brought in some local musicians and I had them play a piece which I pre-recorded, and they played for the Sarasota Orchestra. And also I got to do a sit-down interview with them virtually and learn their story, how they got started, how they met. So I put that all together as like a 5-minute segment. And I also had somebody speak on improv. What is improv? What are the benefits for improv? Because it's lifelong learning. And I had them do a interactive exercise with the audience. And so I kept thinking of other ways to engage. And the other third tip I'll share with you is I had giveaways. So every 30 minutes, I would do a giveaway. And I believe I had like a wheel that you could just, it was a website with a wheel, and I put all the names of the attendees in there, and then randomly we picked a winner. So a lot of different engagement techniques. And at the end, one of the testimonials, I love this, was from a man who said, "You just made me beat my personal record for attending an event." And he was an event producer for the hearing aid business. So I figured, well, that's good. We kept his attention for 3 hours. That's quite an achievement. So Ecamm saved the day, and that's I got involved with the community, and I probably wouldn't even be on Facebook anymore if it weren't for Ecamm. But the people in the community are amazing, and of course the tools are fantastic. And I use it to produce not just virtual events, but my digital courses, interviews, my video podcast, so many ways I didn't even think were possible. And I meet people like you all.
That's great. I mean, it just shows how amazing a tool can help and support a community and to get the job done for you. So great. I'm glad you found Ecamm and you found it useful. And as you said, the Facebook community and the questions that you can ask and the support that you get from that community is really good. And that's what makes the product, I think, so useful and a joy to use as well. And you mentioned about your course. So you want to just tell us a little bit about what digital courses you've got available right now so people can sign up and do their thing.
There we go. There is a checklist. I believe you might have the link to it. This is a free checklist. It's 10 ways to instantly boost your brand visibility. So there's a checklist right there to start. And then I have a 1-hour
course on storytelling, how to use storytelling to elevate your exposure. And I have a 3-hour PR bootcamp for those that really want to get serious about growing their brand and get featured in the media. I have some of my clients have been featured in Time Magazine, Entrepreneur, even on the Today Show. So whatever makes sense for their industry and for them and where they want to be, I teach the strategies and also show the examples and the exact headlines I use to attract the media and just walk you through it. So if that's something that sounds good, please go and check it out.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, all the links to your site and everything are in the description of the YouTube channel. I just posted a couple out on the chat as well, so people will be able to find you. And we've also got a little slide with all your socials. So thank you so much for joining us, Robyn. And there you are. That's all your stuff there. But people can find you. Yeah. So thank you so much, Robyn.
Thank you all. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. And you're welcome to stay with us in the Zoom room. Robyn, if you want to, you can drop off. It's entirely up to you. We've got a quiz coming up and all kinds of comments and fun things. So yeah, stick with us if you like, or you can drop off and watch the show in the comfort of your own big TV.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. It's really been fun. I appreciate it.
Amazing. Thanks so much.
You're more than welcome. Thank you so much for your time.
I'm going to catch you on mobile. Okay.
All right. Take care of yourself. Thanks for joining us. Safe travels. See you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
So amazing. There's so many great things going through, and so many sort of supportive people. Really appreciate everyone in the chat sort of sharing their thoughts and their experiences and all that sort of stuff. Valerie, enjoying your audio podcast. That's a save in there, even if you can't quite get it out on video. There's a way of doing that, which is really cool. Saeed, absolutely. long form videos of the future.
It's a different type of video.
Yeah.
Thanks, Saeed. It is late for him in Germany.
It is. That's true. Exactly. And absolutely, intention is so important. I think that's one thing. Just doing content for the sake of it, actually having a bit more intention as you're doing that, really, really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you everybody for doing that, and thank you for being here. We do indeed have a quiz. Should we start it?
Let's do it.
Okay, so same as always, put A, B, C, D in the chat, or you can put the full answer if you wish. The first question is, what is a common live streaming gotcha related to lighting? Is it using too many different light sources, not setting your camera's white balance correctly, using a softbox light setup, or having a backlight in the frame? Having backlit in the frame. And I wrote this as well. I know. I just can't see. What on earth is going on? Anyway, A, B, C, D, or any other thing that you can make up which might fit into any of those things. Let us know in the chat. Yes, so we've got a couple of things coming in already. First person in was George with B. We've got Roy. There we are. B.
All right.
Saeed. B.
Fantastic.
What's going on here, Valerie? Day job. What's that? Indeed. We know what your day job is, Valerie. All your job. Amazing. So I think, generally speaking, we have a pretty successful lot of answers. B, it was indeed not setting your camera's white balance correctly. Tell us a little bit about that, Lee. Just, Neil, just so that people who don't know will know a little bit more about that.
Well, let's just show you. So, for example, if you don't set your white balance correctly, you could end up having some really cool blue temperature. You could be too blue, or you could be too tango, or orange as we like to call it in the UK. So it's all about, we call it tango. It was an orange drink back in the day, and everybody drunk it turned an orange colour, and it's called You've Been Tangoed. You'll have to look that up.
Oh.
So anyway, the important piece is to make sure that your white balance is set correctly, so you have a little pleasing skin tone. And I've just realised that I've been in the sun a little bit today, so I think I've got a little bit of sunburn. But you can't change sunburn unless you wear a lot of makeup, which I'm not prepared to do. Not for this show, anyway. So that's why it's important to set your white balance.
I have to go back to the tango because it was shortened here. It was tang. I don't know if that's the same thing or not.
Oh, yeah, it's the same thing, I think. Yeah, tang.
Okay.
Yeah, you've been tanged. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
You've been tagged.
Yeah.
I didn't know tango. You're dancing.
We're learning stuff as we go on. This is what the
Exactly.
show's all about. It's
Just
nothing to
exactly.
do with tech.
No.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Keep it going. Keep it going. I think the first person was, not surprisingly, it was George.
King George. King George the First, as we like to call him.
George.
There's only one George.
Yeah. Can you get a 5 gigabyte internet speed? I don't know how he gets it, so whether it goes via Mars and back through all manner of satellites or whatever, but fastest finger first. Anyway, question number 2.
Oh, this is me. Sorry. What does the video term, chroma key refer to? Is it A?
Hang on. Should we try that again?
Yeah, remember I can't see number A.
Oh, that's right.
Can't even talk. I can't see A. So
Sorry about that. I'll just.
okay, take 2. Ready?
Okay, take 2. Here we go again.
Take 2. Go.
What does the video term chroma key refer to? Is it A, special effects used for removing background color? Example, green screen. B, the brightness setting in a video. C, a transition effect between scenes. Or D, the exposure level of your camera sensor. A, B, C, or D? Put your answers fastest finger first, and let's see.
They're already in.
Answers
I think
going
that they knew from when
Yeah.
we first started. So
They're trying to circumvent the quiz timer now by making me just messing up helps everybody.
Can you go
Hurrah.
back and say the word green again? Because I heard a little roll. What was that?
Green screen. Is that all right? Should I just,
that's-
just
quite
to emphasize.
Shakespearean,
I
wasn't
like it. I like it.
Do you have training in the on the stage or?
in the arts.
I used to spend a lot of time on the stage sweeping up. The old joke, but there you go.
Fair enough. So we have a few answers. They're the right answer. In fact, they're all the same answers, so let's hope it's the right one. It is indeed A. So we had Saeed was there, Roy was there, George was there, Marcus was there. So excellent. Well done, everybody. But the first person, as far as I can tell, was indeed Saeed. Well done, you. Excellent work. We really
Well done,
appreciate you
Saeed.
sharing it around, George. Thanks so much. Question number 3.
What does the acronym TSA stand for? A, Travel Security Association. B, Transportation Security Administration. C, Tourist Safety Agency. Or D, Terminal Surveillance Authority.
So, one for the travel people.
Well,
What
since
do
it was
we
a
think?
sort of travel-related show today, we thought we'd have at least one question about travel.
Right?
At least one.
Indeed. Well done. George the quiz.
George the Quiz.
Very
I
good.
like that.
Very good.
New word.
So a couple of answers come in. George says B. Roy says B. Anybody else have a different answer or want to agree? Last couple of seconds, because the correct answer is... It was indeed B. Well done to you both. Excellent work. Well done. And it was, as it should be, and all is right with the world. It is George was the winner yet again. Excellent. Congratulations. Amazing stuff. So, there we have it. The end of the quiz for now. And which brings us probably quite nicely into our plans for the future. So, would you like to explain, Neil, what's happening, where we're going, or where we're
What
not
are we
going?
doing?
What's happening? What's
yeah.
new?
Well, first off, we'd like to tell everybody that this is our last show for season
Ever.
2.
Oh, no, sorry. No.
And
I
we're
know, you
no
built it
longer
up
having
like
a
that.
quiz. And we, yeah, no, I shouldn't say it like that. And we're no longer having any more quizzes because George basically takes every prize. And no, I'm just kidding. So we are going to take a little hiatus for a few weeks. We are actually going to be back on the 7th of April with a little bit of a rejig of the show because we're going to do some new things. So what we're actually planning to do, first of all, is that we are going to be using all our experience combined and giving you the opportunity to come along on a journey with us where we can help you out with your own video show. Now, individually, we've all done our own video production, audio workflows and things for many years. But as a team, we all got together, as you know, at Creator Camp and decided to create this show. And doing that show from scratch was a great learning experience and a great learning curve for us all. Individually, we all brought our own skills to this show, and we were able to produce this from what you see now, whether it be a run of show, camera setup, audio, all those things taking you from an inception, an idea of a show, this would be a great thing to do, all the way through to having the show that what you see now, incorporating audience interactions, quizzes, planning, everything. So we want to help you with a similar workflow. So if you're in the process of looking at setting up your own show from scratch, or you're in the middle of doing something and need some help and advice, we're going to be creating a workshop where people can sign up and join in on a period of time over 6 weeks, 7 weeks, something like that, where you can join us and we will teach you how to start a show from scratch and all the processes and workflows and stuff that goes into it. And this isn't just about camera gear and so on. It's all about the entire process from ideology, workflow, planning, show preparation, guest questions, all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested and want to get involved in something like that, then the way to do it is to sign up and subscribe to our newly formatted Substack page that we've created. So we're actually putting everything on Substack now. We're moving away from the website, and you can go to creativeamplifiers.substack.com. This is the page that you'll be granted with to sign up. And then when you do sign up, and it's free to subscribe, you can basically check out all our notes, podcasts, and information will be here. So anything related to the workshop that we're going to be planning, all the stuff that we're going to be setting up, and all the information about our new shows that are going to be coming up in terms of what we're going to be doing as a team, and also where we're going to be broadcasting our new show on YouTube and so on, will all be here. Now, our show is not going away. The show that you see today is still going to be on YouTube and so on, but we're going to be sort of mixing that up with content from ourselves and so on. So we're also going to be having guests from time to time, but we also want to encourage you on probably a monthly basis to come and join us on the show. We'll be setting up a Zoom link so you can come in as guests and just have a chat, ask us questions, and just get to know us a little bit better and more about the workflow. So it's a little bit of a change, a little bit of a shift from the normal Creative Amplifiers show. But we are not going anywhere. We're still going to be here, but we're going to be doing something slightly different. So if you'd like to show them, Mark, how they can get involved, we have a little slide, the usual thing. So join our Substack, ask us some questions, get involved, start thinking about what you want to do from a content creation basis. Click on the QR code, that'll take you to the Substack. And you've also got creativeamplifiers.substack.com. Get involved, sign up, and we will be back in a few weeks with some new exciting stuff.
Amazing.
Hopefully I've covered everything. I can't
You
remember if
did.
I've missed anything.
Well
don't I?
said,
Okay.
sir. Well
Good
said.
work. So I have a question for those of you watching. How many of you actually use Substack already? Because it's something that we've been working through and getting to know, and Neil's got a whole myriad of insights into his sort of journey on social media and which places we were going to go as well. But I'm curious if any of you use Substack, if it's new. Lisa, tell us a little bit about your sort of experience with it and your sort of learning curve, and why we think it's a good place for us to be hanging out.
I think right now they're starting to push live video. They're starting to push video because it was a platform that really was for writers and authors. And so I just see it as a place that you can kind of go and play right now at this point. You can do video, you can do lives, you can have chats, you can do paid newsletters. So there's a way to monetize. So it just looks like a new frontier, the way they're, making it for a place for somebody who wants to do all those things you've been thinking about. You can do a podcast from there and actually host your podcast there. So it's a nice place to form community. It's a nice place to just interact and find other content creators and share your message however you want. Verbally, written, video, whatever. And I think that's an amazing place to be.
And I think you're absolutely right. And I think sort of reverse engineering it, we started to chat about, would we do a course? How would we help people? What is it we'd like to do? Is it going to be only video? Is it audio? Is it bound into a certain way of presenting these things? And then you suddenly realize there's like a million things out there, like if you're going to talk about Kajabi or Thinkific or how you want to do all these things. And we were in that same situation. It's like, well, do we have a separate email list? Do we just do everything on social? And, all these questions start to come up. And so this is why we wanted to share these things, is because we've been going through that journey and sort of walking that path. Substack seemed to be for us a good idea based on what we've just been talking about, but we're playing with it as well. So we want you to sort of come along with the ride and enjoy it with us, and just sort of give it a go. And we're going to be here helping, sharing, and hopefully bringing your message to life, because I think that's the thing you often forget about. You think, oh, we're just going to create this and we're going to do that, but the most important thing, like, we wanted to hang out, to have fun, to bring the Ecamm Fam together. That's why this show started, and all of the tools and the tech and all that make that happen. But it's your message, your story, what you want to bring to the world, and how we can support you to do that is the most important thing. And so hopefully all that sort of wound up together to make something which is going to be exciting for you and exciting for us, because that's what we wanted to be able to do, is to sort of share our passion for these things and have a nice time along the way. It's not going to be too serious, but it's going to be informative and hopefully influential and supportive, not just in a one-off way, but a way of that continual sort of hand holding if that's exactly what you need. So that's our idea, and hopefully you'll be able to join us with that as we go through. Anything else we need to add?
Absolutely. No, I was going to say, I mean, I think Substack is going to be the new digital portal for people to actually present all the material on there, and you can be as involved as you want in terms of a creator on Substack, and you can just take it piece by piece. As Lisa said, there's so many things now you can do with it. You don't have to do everything. You could just be a writer, a blogger effectively, and just do all your musings on there, but you can augment that now with audio and video, and I think it's a great place, as well as the community aspect of Substack is really being pushed as well. So let's see how that goes, but you know how to get in touch, and we will be back on the 7th of April, as we said, I think, which is a Monday, isn't it?
Exactly.
Same time, same place, same channel.
Exactly. So let's just share this again. So you've got the QR code and the creativeamplifiers.substack.com. That rolls off the tongue really nicely. And not going to get over that too much. Yeah, and this is kind of what you'll get. So you get an idea of what it's gonna look like, and as we said, we can put all that thing. Really look forward to seeing that as it goes through. So yes, George, appreciate the support, and thanks. Good, I'm really glad. And do, as we said, send us your questions, whatever it happens to be, whether it's related to your show, if it's a general thing that we can help you with. We're here to help, and we want to be able to support you in whichever way we can. And as Neil said, we're going to have some hangout shows as well. So we're going to keep the fun rolling as well into our expert repartee, or whatever the word is that we need to do. And of course, as Neil said, I'm going to be in Portugal in April as well. So who knows? There may even be some content.
Pop-up show, I think, is called for.
Yeah, pop-up show.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we haven't told Lisa
Late
yet that
at
she's
night.
running that one either. No, exactly.
I'm
Oh yeah,
reading that
that's
one.
right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, don't worry.
Cool. No worries.
Amazing. Fantastic.
And who's
Well,
coming with
we'll
us?
Be ruining it.
Who's coming? Who
Pardon?
are we bringing with us on our new endeavor? We're not leaving. Where is he?
Oh,
A
of
hamster.
course. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That was your cue.
It's been a long day.
I'm sorry. I just wanted people to know.
Yeah,
It is 11:15 at night.
Yeah, no,
Come on.
No, it's not. It's 2:45 p.m. It's time
Not
to go.
for
Let's do
you.
it.
Yeah, she's in party mode now. There's an afternoon of cocktails on her horizon. That's what it's going to be. Anyway, so yes, thank you so much. Season 1, season 2 has been amazing. We've learned a lot. We've had a lot of fun, which is the most important thing. We appreciate you coming along with us, spending your time and supporting us and enjoying yourselves along the way, which comes across really brilliantly, both in terms of all the guests that have been on and been so helpful, you turning up in the chat and being supportive. And thanks to Ecamm as well for all of their continued support and everything that's been involved with the Ecamm Fam. We couldn't have done it without them as well. We had a lot of fun at Creator Camp, obviously, as well. But this is just our way of actually kind of generating our next stage, as we said, not getting rid of everything we've done, but just creating a slightly new path as well. So on that note, we will be back on the 7th of April. Not before. No, I'm coming after the 7th of April. I can't remember when.
Oh, that's right. You are. Yeah. Oh, well. It'll still be a pop-up show.
There'll still be a pop-up show as well. Anyway, on that note, thank you so much indeed. Great to share the time with the two of you as always. And we'll be back again on the 7th of April. See you soon.